Let's go on over to Ayanda Nyati, who is on standby. And Ayanda, I understand you are joined by the Minister of Tourism, Patricia Lille. This has been one of the 15 working groups on the Sherpa track building up to this Leaders Summit. I imagine she must also have points about which she's quite satisfied just from reading the declaration.
Without a doubt, Tula, thanks very much indeed. We're coming to you just outside the media center where we once again basking in the African sun. It's a slogan you typically hear in some of the tourism brochures, I suppose, and that's where the minister comes in some respects. Minister, thank you so much for your patience. Great to see you again. Tula Simalane is in our main studio and speaks about how, of course, tourism was amongst the main G20 working group sessions that we've seen in the lead up to this point. Help us, I suppose, place what your response is to this declaration that has now been put together, because I remember speaking to you in Mpumalanga, and amongst the issues that were of concern is whether or not tourism is simply high enough on the agenda at world gatherings like these.
Tourism is certainly part of the declaration. And again, all the G20 countries, we have committed ourselves to continue to work together, to innovate, to invest, to make sure that we improve air access, make travel seamlessly for our visitors, deal with the reforms in our visa regulations. So we will continue to work together. With the G20 Summit for South Africa, tourism must be the biggest winner. Our hotels are overflowing from Soweto to Sandton, all over, and we have already also during the year more than 135 working group meetings and ministerial meetings. So the tourism sector is very happy.
Yeah, and it's always great, I suppose, in moments like these. It's kind of easy to see how tourism benefits. But the question is always, what happens to all those people who had those seasonal jobs after summits like these are wrapped up?
Well, we are also fortunately in the summer season that kicked off in September. So already a lot of those temporary jobs will stay at least until the end of the summer center. But that is why we have to do more to make sure that we absorb especially semi-skilled, unskilled young people, train them, keep them in the sector. Already just in the past 9 months, we've grown by more than 1 million tourists. And the more tourists come, the more jobs we can create. So yes, I have partnered with the private sector. We've come together with a tourism growth partnership plan that now make this implementable and realizing the jobs that tourism can create.
Yeah. The big part of getting tourism right, of course, is about getting the story right. And over the past couple of months, you know the story between South Africa and Washington and what the President of the United States has had to say about South Africa. How much of a dent has that made, do you think, as we continue telling the South African story?
In terms of tourism, no tariffs. And what we've seen that the United States has overtaken the United Kingdom in terms of the number of visitors.
So more people from the U.S. are coming?
More people from the U.S. are coming. They are now ahead of the United Kingdom that has led that market for many years. We've seen an increase in the number of flights between Washington, Newark, Cape Town and Johannesburg. And those flights are fully booked. In fact, they are looking for more frequencies. So as far as tourism is concerned, whatever happened in the geopolitical space had no impact in tourism. In fact, we've seen a positive spin-off.
That's fascinating. I know part of the issues that were discussed in the working groups is around this concept of sustainable tourism, making sure that even as we welcome people, they don't leave our environment worse off than it is, making sure that communities are also on board. Are you happy with how all of that sentiment has been captured in the declaration?
All countries around the world, we are working to keep that balance. We must protect the environment while at the same time expose people to tourist attractions. And therefore, ecotourism and sustainable tourism was top on the working group of tourism agenda in preparation for the G20 Summit. And it's contained in the declaration. We now just need to do more to ensure that it becomes the norm and not an exception, that we bring ecotourism in the center of our growing the sector. We're no longer recovering, we're growing now.
Sure. Seamless mobility is another one of the points that come top to mind. Not bad for memory off the cuff. And when I've been watching the heads of states arrive, my family and I were having a conversation about just the logistical work that goes into something like that. And it does feed into how people arrive into the country and whether or not they can move around South Africa with ease. Gauteng is easy because of the Gau train, but I'm sure there's so much more that could be done to ensure that there's seamless movement elsewhere in South Africa.
You know, the good thing for tourism is that all of those people who arrived in our country for the first time, they all say that they are coming back. And it's exactly what we wanted. On the G20 website, right from the beginning, we also put up tourism attractions, other things that people can do while they come for the summit and for the ministerial meetings. And that has helped us a great deal. So now with the ease of the electronic visa authorization that's coming for the G20s, markets like China, India, Indonesia, and Mexico, we are preparing for that influx that's going to come. So I can only see that we can contribute more to the economy. We're already contributing 8.8% to the GDP. We're already creating 1.6 million jobs. And the more tourists we arrive, and our domestic tourism, we can create far more jobs.
Yeah. Hopefully you also have the ear of the weather gods and they'll be kind to us this summer. It's been 4 seasons in a day so far, so I'll let you go on that point. Yes, Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Really been great catching up with the Tourism Minister, Patricia de Lille, of course, who's with us here, as we also continue taking stock, of course, of what's been said so far and how, of course, all of this has been captured in the main declaration itself. So I'm struggling to hear at the moment. It might be back to you, Sherwin and Tulas. Otherwise, we'll take a quick break and more of our coverage right here at the Natrik Expo Center continues in a moment.
SABC, host broadcaster of the G20 South Africa 2025.